I like stuff. So what I have here is the JHS pedals summing amp. And as you could hear at the beginning, I was being awfully gratuitous with my delays. And they were panned stereo, hard left and hard right, just to give you that whole kind of a feeling of space. What a cool little package this comes in. It comes like all wrapped up. This stuff, that stuff. You get a sticker, nice little JHS sticker. It's got little feet. I won't be using the feet. I've already put Velcro on it. And sharp pointy pick. I might have to check that one out. I like pointy picks, but I like big picks. I don't like small picks like those jazz ones. So this guy right here. If you are watching this, you have probably done a search for stereo to mono for guitar or something along those lines. This is the, or maybe you've searched this. This is the JHS Summing Amp pedal. And basically, why I needed this and why you probably need this if you're watching, is that as a guitarist using all this stuff now, or maybe you just got a Line 6 item or Kemper, something you've sat and you've designed all these wonderful stereo patches and you love the way it sounds, you love the rhythm that you have set up, you know, the certain cadence that it sets up for what you're trying to do is just right. And you don't want to change everything when you show up to a show and they say, hey, you have to use, the house is mono, or you have to use a single backline amp. You have to give, the sound guy a break. He's only got one microphone tonight. For whatever reason, all of a sudden you're in a panic because you're thinking to yourself, I'm only going to hear half of the sound that I've designed, especially in the delays, or if you have a chorus or a phaser, it's going to end up sounding like this, coming out of it. It's just, you're going to end up with an unhappy signal going to front of house. And what this can do is take your left and right stereo inputs, or I guess outputs from your board, and give you one mono input to then either send into the front of one amplifier, or into, if you're doing a send and return, which I would imagine a lot of people are doing, the 7 cable method and doing stereo stuff or whatever you're doing. If you've got 2 outputs and you want 2 sources left and right, and some of your stuff is pretty far panned, and you are in a situation where they've said, hey, you have to use one mic, or you have to only give us one of these outputs, this is a quick and easy way to not have to redesign all that digital stuff right there. That is a real hassle to kind of redo if you have to do this all the time. So the reason I'm doing this for myself is that when I play smaller places, I like this orange Rocker 32. As you can see, I have 2 mics set up on it, and it splits the power section into stereo when you send 2 cables into the dual returns of that amp. It's a really nice setup. You can also do wet dry if you were to just plug into the right return. But if you plug into the left and right return, you get a stereo setup and you get a nice little spread, and it sounds like you get that bounce. Let me slow it down a little. So, and not only that, it becomes a rhythm for you. It becomes a cadence that maybe your drummer's listening for, that just gets kind of setting you up for, a particular sound that you want to have going on, and you're expecting that exact many repeats. So what I can now do is take this and plug it into one single amplifier. I'm going to run it into this this Jet City, because I'm actually about to take that out for 2 gigs this weekend. I have a show in Amityville, New York on Thursday. Whatever tomorrow is while I'm recording this, I don't know. Thursday the 19th. And then I'm in Atlantic City, New Jersey on the 20th. I'm playing both these shows with Jimmy's Chicken Shack, which is a band, obviously, maybe you've heard of, maybe you haven't. Maybe that's why you're here, maybe not. Maybe you're only here because of this. Either way, like, subscribe, share. Yeah, that's my run, and I really want to make it simple. So I don't want to hit I don't know what I'm about to walk into. So I want to hit the sound guy with just one mic, and I really don't feel like taking the Soldano and the Mesa combination, which I love, but it's going to be kind of smaller places, I have a feeling. So I'm just going to go ahead and plug into that Jet City, and I'm going to do that right now. What I have here is the back of my pedal board. I have a little patch bay here. So this cable goes to the input of the amplifier. And this is all going into the Orange Rocker 32 right now. I'm going to go ahead and unplug all of these as I go. That's the input. That's the front of the amplifier. That's amp control for switching channels. This is coming from the send. This is the left return. And you can hear it. There it goes. And, it's not going to matter if I mute anyways. And that's the right. Yep, there she goes. All right, so now I've muted that amp. I'm going to get this amp here warmed up. And what I have now is the summing amp. And this is why I like having a patch bay. Because now, if you were just running everything to the front of 2 amps and you were just coming out left and right, then you would just run 2 cables into here and then 1 cable into here. If you were just doing one, obviously you just have one. You're not doing one. You don't need this if you have 1 cable. Taking this into my configuration now, I want to bypass the effects loop. I'm just going to go into the front end of this Soldano Jet City amp and not use that effects loop. I don't like the way the effects loops sound on Soldano amps, at least the ones that I have. They're not the right range, that whole line level thing that's going on just doesn't sound right for pedals for me. So, and then this is the same if I was going to go into a Fender or maybe, a Mesa. I just had to just run 1 cable to an amplifier. I go from my amp in section over to my from send section with a little jumper, and then that just kind of continues that loop. It's like bypassing the preamp basically of an amplifier, and that's what's going on there. So now the send is essentially going back into itself, into my ES8, and I'm going to be coming out of here, my left and right. So that's why I need this guy. So I pop it right here on my board. I just happen to have a power cable there. Look at that. And if I remember correctly, this is my cable to my amplifier. So I have this cable plugged into the front of my Jet City. And now all I need is a couple of jumpers. Hey, I have a couple here, and they're totally random and not at all what I should be using because they're mismatched, and my OCD is going to just drive me crazy as I do this. But hey, there we go. Now I should be able to send my signal into this Jet City and get proper sounds with the proper timing and everything like that. So if you don't have something like this and you're just coming out of used to going into 2 amps and the front end of 2 amps, you would send your outputs from your board into the summing amp, the JHS Summing Amp, the 2 arrows in, and then the 1 arrow out goes to the amplifier. It's the best non-effect pedal that you could have in this kind of a backline situation because it could just save all your effects and just save your sound. So let's give it a test into this amp now, mono channel. find it. If she doesn't, she's gonna bark at me. To sum it up, the Summing Amp, JHS Pedals Summing Amp. I'm very glad I got it. It's gonna make things a lot easier for me, especially if I know in advance that the gig is mono. But I'll always have it in case I show up and they say, hey, we run a mono system. Doesn't make sense for me to take 2 mics. Or they say, hey, you have to use this particular amp and you can only plug in 1 input. The very small instruction manual, it didn't even have a serial number on it. It says NA, so if you get that, don't worry. It says take 2 inputs and create 1 output with this simple little box that adds up to a whole lot more. And I'd agree, this is probably my favorite non-effect pedal that I have at the moment, because it does just what I'm going to need it to do. And I don't have to think about it. I don't have to hit any switches. I don't have to really do anything. It takes everything, keeps it in phase, and sends the signal right in. Obviously, it sounded different going into a Soldano compared to an Orange. The tones are different, but it's gonna do just what I need. So I'm happy. If you are thinking about how you want to do this quickly and easily, that's a pretty good idea. You can find them on eBay. I've seen a couple of them used. You can go right to JHS Pedals. I think they're even on Amazon. I don't know, and I'm not going to put a link down there. You're going to have to Google it, man. But either way, like, subscribe, share, do all the YouTuber things. I think I'm supposed to say that. It's like an algorithm thing or something. I don't know. But please, do all that for me. Because I think after this video airs, I'm going to have 10,000 views, which is nice. And then my next goal will be 1,000 subscribers. And I'm getting close to that. It's going to take some time to do that. But I've hit 10,000 views, which is a big goal for me. So everybody that's watched, thank you. Leave a comment below. Write the word 10,000 or the number 10,000. Something like that for me, just to let me know you watched this far. And thank you. Take care.